What's going on, guys? It's Dave again. I'm back today doing a build for my buddy Matt and one of his friends actually, Brandon. Brandon's got a 7080 Ti and a 4th gen Intel build right now, and it's just not cutting it anymore, and it's also not really worth upgrading anymore. So he decided to build something entirely new and miraculously got a 3070 Ti Founders Edition, a 5800X. We're going to use 32 gigs of RAM and a Western Digital SN850 2TB NVMe. We're going to shove that all in a Corsair 4000D airflow case. So let's build. Starting off, we are going to get the Asus TUF X570 motherboard installed first. I have done several builds with the Asus TUF motherboards, including Matt's first build, and I have to say, if you are on a budget, the TUF motherboards are definitely a solid option. Generally, I would suggest a Samsung 980 Pro or a Sabrent Rocket 4 Plus drive, but the Western Digital Black SN850 is still a really good product, and 2TB should be more than enough for this build. Next thing is to install the 5800X, and as someone who previously had the 5800X in their build, I can definitely say that it is a great chip to run. Before applying the thermal paste, I'm going to take out the stock screws that hold the plastic hook mount down and replace them with the 4 standoff stud screws that now come with Corsair AIOs for the AM4 and AM5 socket. These screws can just be finger tight, and it does not have to be anything special. Once the screws are in, as always, I will go ahead and put some Thermal Grizzly Cryo Knot on the 5800X and then get the 4 thumb screws tightened down on the pump until they are snug but not super tight. Once the CPU and the AIO pump were on, the next thing we did was get the RAM installed. 32 gigs of DDR4 should last Brandon quite a while before needing to add more. Although I have to say, for how much RGB was in this build, I am kind of surprised he did not get enough to fill all 4 RAM slots. I'm going to be honest, I did this build almost 6 months ago and have just been lazy about getting this video up. At the time, 3070 Ti Founders cards were basically unheard of in the wild, so the fact that Brandon was able to score one of these was pretty miraculous. At this point, I was able to get all of the SP120 RGB Elite fans installed on the front. Since Brandon opted to do 3 fans pulling air in and 3 fans pushing air out, he should have quite a significant amount of airflow going through the case. I got the 2 ML120 fans installed on the radiator, and then Matt got the radiator mounted to the top. After that, the final fan in the rear was installed, and the only thing that was left to do was to get the power supply installed and then the long and tedious process of getting the wiring done. Corsair, you have got to figure out a better strategy than 2 wires per fan because it is absolutely miserable. Once the wiring was done, I got the GPU power wire to look as best as I could get it on the front, got the side panel back on, and finally, we are done. This was a fun build to do, and I know Brandon was very happy when he saw the final product since he had a giant grin on his face. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one.